It took all of 1 hour for Dave the Diver to win me over completely. This occasionally intense but much more often casual single-player adventure RPG / marine-tycoon features addicting deep-sea exploration and fishing mechanics by day, and charming mini-game-based sushi restaurant management mechanics by night. Like the layers of dried kelp in a sushi roll, these two well-constructed gameplay dynamics give Dave the Diver its structure and would likely justify the game's modest $20 price tag on their own. But what really earned my seal of approval and makes Dave the Diver's sushi so darn irresistible is the wacky sense of creativity and relentless pursuit of fun that's packed inside. Let's pop this little gem under the microscope and see how it handles my 15-part scoring system, starting with story. If it wasn't already bloody obvious, you are Dave, a go-with-the-flow kind of guy who requires surprisingly little persuasion before happily hopping into the water to risk life and limb for the betterment of others. And wow, talk about others. Dave the Diver, the game, not the man, sports a colorful assortment of personalities, from the enigmatic Afro-samurai sushi legend Bancho to the greedy and excitable man with a half-baked plan Cobra, who got you roped into this whole mess to begin with. Together, this ragtag trio of Cobra, Bancho, and Dave opens up a smash-hit seafood restaurant specializing in tropical sushi on the precipice of a hidden reef with a hidden secret. Well, not a secret for long, I suppose, because in the game's first hour, a spastic, quote, sea people scientist named Dr. Bacon recruits you to track down evidence of a lost Atlantis-esque mer-people metropolis in the region. And from there, the game's plot progresses so rapidly as to feel dizzying at points. Really, you'll go from scouring the seafloor for seashells to give to a grad student, to defending a pod of dolphins from pirates, to battling a grenade-wielding eco-terrorist masquerading as Greenpeace, to getting called fat by a mermaid king. It's just a wild time and I'm here for it. Ditto that for the game's fun cast of characters and their often humorous text-based dialogue. More than for laughs, however, the characters in Dave the Diver exist to introduce and then expand upon the game's mini mechanics. Most important is your oxygen tank, which doubles as your health bar. Oxygen will steadily decrease during each dive and takes a hit if you do, whether by environmental hazard or underwater predator. If O2 runs out before you either replenish it, reach the surface, or call an escape pod, you'll lose all but one of the items you gathered during the run. Never to fear, however, as Dave can both upgrade his tank's capacity and fight back with an assortment of tools, ranging from harpoon to sniper rifle. Seriously. Of course, your harpoon's primary purpose is to catch fish for Bancho to convert into gold after converting them into sushi. Through a nightly menu of your creation, you'll then race from patron to patron, pouring them drinks, fetching them sushi, and making menu tweaks as needed. Your earnings can then be used to improve the restaurant's aesthetics, hire new staff, and upgrade just about everything, from staff stats to your harpoon, your guns, your carrying capacity, and wetsuits so that you can survive deeper dives, which is essential to advancing the game's plot. It just all adds up to a rich and deeply satisfying narrative-driven gameplay loop that's bolstered by an intuitive user interface, polished player-friendly design decisions, a varied and complex multi-region world that rewards exploration, and tolerable QuickTime events. Perhaps my only real gripe with the gameplay is that the combat feels a bit clunky. And no, that's not a dig at Dave's physique. Whether on keyboard and mouse or gamepad, you're required to hold a button to aim and another to shoot, which is nothing new, but Dave leaves this stance after each shot or after taking damage. And there's a lag before your controller will register the input and allow you to shoot something again. Couple this with Dave's small firing angle and the whole process can turn into a bit of a chore. Luckily, the game's boss fights tend to lean away from the game's shooting mechanics and lean into movement-based maneuvers, like quickly grabbing onto an anchor to prevent a gargantuan wolf eel from turning you into sushi. While these fights are on the easier end of the boss fight spectrum, they're still inventive and a nice change of pace. Not that I ever really felt the need for Dave the Diver to mix things up. The story-driven list of game objectives are already so pleasantly offbeat and unexpected that the game feels consistently fresh, at least until later chapters when things can get a bit fetch questy. It's a large, mini-mapless world after all, so tracking down obscure items or specific ingredients for restaurant patrons is easier said than done. But boy, are those hilarious Ratatouille-esque hand-drawn cutscenes worth the grind. On the subject of style, Dave the Diver's pleasant mixture of 2 and 3D pixel art makes for a consistently enjoyable visual experience that perfectly complements the relaxed adventure vibe that this game is going for. The music, meanwhile, is equally delightful, if a tad repetitive. You see, each region of the map has a default song you'll hear each time you're there, but they're all so good I'd never consider this game's soundtrack anything less than a strength. Ditto that for the sound design. While nothing here blew me away, it's all bright, crisp, and responsive, especially during those mad dash dining sequences. As if there weren't already plenty of fish in this virtual sea, Dave the Diver's 1.0 release adds new marine life and unlocks the story's remaining chapters. The final product should net folks between 20 and 30 hours of fun, which is impressive value given that $20 price tag. So, in the end, and after averaging up our micrometrics, I'm giving Dave the Diver a very solid aggregate megascore of 4.0 out of 5 and recommend it without reservation to gamers of all kind. Until next time, this is Scope, and thanks for watching.